recording. We want you to know that this wasn't about downsizing. It was about freedom. And everything that we tell you today is not prescriptive for you. It's not preaching. It's lessons learned. So we'd like to talk about why we sold the house to begin with.
I'm Beth.
And I'm Dean. And this is Less is the New Retired. Would you like to talk about it?
No.
Okay. We'll remind you of why we sold our house, and why we moved to a condo. Beth had wanted to know if I wanted to sell the house, if I would feel bad about selling the house. I said, no, not really. The reason being is that she felt like we were spending too much money on our home and the things that we were doing. And we wanted to shift our mindset from having more things to enjoying our lives. And so by selling the house, we were going to enable ourselves to be able to pay off all our debts and to get to a point where we would feel comfortable in moving forward with a life where we could have experiences and enjoy what we do.
And we were spending most of our weekends and even our holidays doing something to the house. If it wasn't one thing, it was another. And though we enjoyed our house and we liked being there, it was like we put off doing things because we needed to do the back porch, or we needed to do something to the yard or to the pool or to the inside of the house. And it got to be where we thought, oh my God, all we're doing is doing things we wanted to do to the house, but we weren't enjoying getting out and traveling or going and visiting people.
Yeah, even seeing friends, right? Seeing our family. And generally when we had our family over, they would either be visiting with us to drink some coffee or helping me move something or helping me do something. And that became too much for everybody involved. So we decided we'd sell the house, and we want to show you the home that we sold. Now the picture on the screen now is of the front of the home. And it was, as you can see, it was a fairly large home. It was natively with 4 bedrooms. We closed another room to make it a 5th bedroom, and it had a 2-car garage and a half an acre of land. The roof that you see is the new roof that we put on in the last year. So we spent a lot of money on getting things fixed on this home.
And we also, we did not replace the upper level vinyl windows, but we did replace the downstairs vinyl windows just because those get used more than the upstairs. We didn't open the upstairs. And we also put on a new storm door to the front.
So there were a lot of things that we did. I mean, we put on new gutters.
And over on the left there was a giant, very beautiful cedar tree, but it was growing up and laying on the top of the roof there.
Yes,
which damaged some.
Which was one reason why we had to change it out. We're going to show you some of the areas of the house that were not being used. So this is our frog. The first photo is of our frog, and as you can see, I have my networking equipment in there because that's where the internet came in. But other than that, we had nothing in there. I used it for a studio for a little while, but even then we had at least 3 to 4 rooms in the house that we weren't using. The next one is of what used to be my office, and it was not being used after I moved my office downstairs, and we'll show you that in a minute. We had this as an office, and then as an empty bedroom at the end, right before we sold it. And all of these photos that you're seeing are all after we went through and fixed the house up. We did everything we could to get the house into the shape it needed to be. The next one is of my granddaughter's bedroom. We had this as a bedroom for her. She didn't come over very often, so this was essentially unused space on our part as well. The sofa that you see was a pull-out sofa, and we had a TV in there but this was unused space for us. And yet more things that we had to maintain as far as the heating and electric and all that sort of thing. Not something that neither one of us particularly liked, because Beth had to clean it and I had to pay for it and paint it and maintain it.
The next one is our backyard, our pool. And the things that we did here were, if you see the blue tin roof over our porch, we had that put in and had the porch redone because it was all falling down when we got there. The underneath was falling down. And we had that done, and we had electricity put in there. We had the pool. We redid the pool when we moved in. We resurfaced the outside, and it was a very, very fun place to be in the summertime.
We also replaced the sliding glass doors
Yes.
with French doors on the, as you can see, on the back porch as well. And something that you don't see here is that we put up shades on the inside of the porch. So there's a lot of things that we did to this to make it better. And one of the things that we'll get more into is we were all doing this for what we thought was going to be our final home. And so what we did for ourselves. And that is, again, something that you'll find out would be a good idea if you're going to be selling a home. We talked about all of the house that was unused, the time and energy and money, tied up in the maintenance of the home, what we did as far as, repairing it and making it better, whether it was for us or to sell. But there was an emotional attachment to the house because it was so close to my granddaughter. So there was an emotional attachment to it. And my wife had really fallen in love with the house when we found it, which she admitted later on was maybe not the best idea, which I think is something you can take away as a lesson learned, right?
No, you don't fall in love with the house. You look at, I guess, the utilitarian aspect of it. And then, how long am I going to be able to maintain this? Is it practical? At the time, no. We were. It's only three years ago. We should have been what we thought. We should have keep hitting the mic. We should have been thinking about the downsize and the letting go of all the things so that we did have more time, more space, more freedom. And I was thinking about being close to Brianna and things like that. Being where we were is very, very close to everything. Our doctor's offices, the hospital, downtown. To get downtown, about 20 minutes. We were close to everything. We were right in the central area that we wanted to be, but we had too much house.
So we want to talk a little bit about what it took, and we prefaced this in the first video, the prep work that we did before we listed the house. So we were going to have some repairs and some updates that we wanted to make. And then we knew that in selling it, there was going to be a question about it, or there was going to be, if it weren't done, then they might not want to pay the full price. Right. So what we did was we took out a loan to get those things done. And then we stayed with our budget to try and get those investments done in the home and to get as much done as possible. I did a lot of it myself. I did a lot of the painting work. Beth did a lot of the cleaning and decluttering. And you'll see in some of the pictures and some of the pictures that we show what we did, and we'll talk about what we did to make the house better. It wasn't fairy dusting. And you'll hear that when people flip houses a lot of times. They'll do paint over something that's rotten or whatever just to try and do a fairy dust on this, right? This was not a fairy dust. We did everything we did positively and had it done the right way. And that's the way we like to do our things. We don't like to do something that someone else is going to come along and be unhappy with. Beth, what surprised you about the sale process?
Well, number one, the real estate laws and the process has changed quite a bit, even in the last 2 years since we bought this house. And that surprised me a little bit, but excuse me. What really surprised me was how quickly it went on the market, how quickly, once we had it on the market, that it sold, because we put it on the market in October. We started the process in July for us getting cleaned up and things like that. And we were thinking, well, it's October. A lot of people aren't buying homes right now,
Especially ones with pools.
and ones with pools. In October, we were in a really good school district there for the kids, and that's a plus for selling a house around there. But we thought we probably were going to have to wait until the spring. We were not anticipating it selling very quickly, seeing as the season we were selling.
And I think that there was an emotional moment to letting it go,
Yeah.
in that when we realized it had sold, in that quick of a time, it was an exhilarating moment, but it was also it was also emotional, right?
Yeah.
Because we had done a lot of work to it. We really, everything we did to it, we did for a reason, and it was a little hard to let it go. But we moved around a lot. All of our friends
That's
say,
another channel.
all of our friends, all of our friends say they put our address in pencil. And that's, I hate to tell them, but days of that, they can start putting it in ink now. So the next picture that we're going to show is of our back porch. And we were talking about what we did to the back porch. And one of the things that we did as part of the loan to get it ready to sell was to have this paint job done on the back porch, the red paint there. Have that done, as well as build some railing to bring it up to code, and also get the paint to paint the pool side deck and the concrete deck with what's called Coolcrete. So we spent quite a bit on this. I want to say that was about $1,500. Again, here, the price that it cost us here, you may have more or you may have less wherever you're at. But we're just telling you what our prices were. Some of the lessons learned on that are small things, like the paint on the porch made a big difference. If you look at the retaining wall on the back, we had that power washed. Made a big difference.
But a really big boost to the wall.
Absolutely.
Really made a difference.
Yeah, it really made it pop. And then something that cost us nothing, because we had to do it anyway, was keeping the pool sparkling clean.
Yeah.
Right?
Just a little bit of elbow work.
Yeah, a little bit of elbow work, but it was worth, it was worthwhile, because, when someone comes to buy the house and they see that the sparkling pool, it really does, it makes a big difference. So the next picture that you're going to see is the kitchen that I did for Beth. And this really was a kitchen that I did. We had a contractor put the flooring down, but all of the paint on the cabinets I did myself. I did the hardware there, and I also built the butcher block countertop and the shelving, and put up the lights, and had all of this done. I did all of this, and we bought new appliances, and that really made a difference when we were getting ready to sell. But I want you to know that the work that I did, specifically the butcher block countertop, was not meant to flip. I was not doing this to try and sell the house later. This was strictly for us, and I think that you'll find that when you approach the things that you want to do to make the house better, think about the things that you would like to have done. Not the things that you think someone else is going to like, but try to think about the things that you think that you would like, and you'll be surprised how much other people like them, right? We put in the hunter green paint, which was a bold choice, but appropriate.
But we really liked it, and surprisingly, it was kind of trending at the time.
That's right. So. That's right. And also accept that the buyer is probably going to want the appliances. If you loved having these appliances in your kitchen, then they're probably going to want the appliances to go with it. Just make sure that you're pricing that into the sale. And you want to make sure that you're updating the lighting fixtures. I can't stress this enough. The lighting fixtures in the house that we had was very similar to the condo, in that it had very old gold-plated 70s, 80s style lighting fixtures. They have to go. They just do. It makes the whole house look super old. Even if you've done all the painting, all the updates,
New floors, everything.
everything,
The
the lighting will make it
is
look
going to set it
old.
off.
And one thing you'll notice in this is that when Beth staged this, she staged it very minimally. She made sure that it was clean and that the things that she had up were only very, very minimal. And why was that?
I wanted the potential buyer, to be able to picture their things on the shelving, on the upper cabinets, on the cabinets. Plus, when you don't have a lot of clutter on your cabinets, your kitchen naturally looks bigger and neater.
True, true. So the next picture that you're going to see is of the guest bathroom. And the reason that we're showing this guest bathroom is because it's a half bath downstairs. And the reason that we wanted to show this is an example of a low cost or no cost update. And the reason I say that is because Beth took this gold mirror and she painted it black out on the driveway, put down the plastic and spray painted it, and we put it back up, and we bought for $35 the shelf over the toilet that you see in the mirror, and it just worked, right? That, along with having the paint absolutely perfect, no scratches.
Painted the trim.
Yeah, painted the trim.
We also replaced the light switch cover, and we replaced the electrical cover, made sure everything was clean and sparkling and smelled good.
And all of the light bulbs work.
All the lights
work. All the lights are lit. So
that's was dusted.
Yes, and so that's a big part of it. So now you see the next photo is of our dining room. And one of the things that we kind of want to point out in this is the fact that, again, you see that the lighting has been changed. You see that that we minimally staged it. We had gotten rid of a lot of pieces of it. And one of the things we did was to go in and replace all the HVAC duct vent covers. And that made it look a lot better because they were really old. And we left the curtains there, and Beth had put blinds on all the windows on the front so it all looked consistent.
Then I put it on all the windows on the top.
And one thing to keep in mind is, let's say that you have not such a good floor. Well, in this particular room, the floor wasn't all that great.
It needed refinishing.
It needed some refinishing. And so instead of taking that as something we had to spend money on, we decided that we would put down a rug and just kind of gloss over that fact. Now, that's not fairy dusting. They could have lifted the rug and looked underneath it and they would have seen it. But the fact is, when you're selling a home, you're staging it for other people to look at and to say, this is really beautiful, right? And you can see the way that we did this room was really, really nice. The next photo is again, we go back to how we talked about updating your lighting. And this is in the hallway, just off the dining room. And you'll see the modern looking light up at the top, and that we actually replaced an old chandelier. And that old chandelier was awful. We couldn't dust it. It looked horrible. And, for the $700 it took us to have this installed, to buy and have this installed, it made all the difference in the world. I can tell you that. So try to modernize your lighting for sure. The next room is our living room. And again, this was one that we lived in all the time. We were in all the time. But this is the staged version of it. And we did a few things that you will want to keep in mind. One of which is that we pushed the furniture out to the edges of the room so that it would give a bigger space in that room.
Well, the appearance of a bigger space. We have rather large furniture. The couch reclines. We have two reclining chairs on either side. We had the two recliners here. And we thought, it would be nicer if it was turned around so you could look at the TV, which is that picture there. You could look at the TV and see outside, But for the purposes of staging, we changed it so that it would give you the straight on view of this living room.
And one of the things that we intentionally did all of this in staging it for the pictures as well as for the viewing was to make sure that the windows were all open and clean, and that
all the lights
were on, so that it appeared as bright and beautiful as you could make it. Again, you see that we changed out the lighting there, and we left a few pieces of generic art on the wall, and that, again, that was intentional. We sat down and we actually discussed what we should leave, how we wanted it to look before we ever got it on the market.
Yes, we took all of our personal pictures down. We have, pictures of Dean and me on cruises and the children and all that. And we wanted to depersonalize the home and use art, but use, like you said, some rather generic art pieces.
So the next photo that you see is of our bedroom. And as you can see, we had some really large pieces of furniture in there for the bedroom. We took down, again, to Beth's point, we took down the personalized photographs. We went through, we touched up all the paint, and we had it well lit and looking good when we had this photo done, as well as when we had the showing. And the next photo that you see is of my office, or the fifth bedroom. This was originally a formal living room, and we decided that we should close it by putting up the barn door. And again, this was maybe a $400 fix for this room, fairly low cost, but it made a big difference in how this room was perceived, that it was in fact a separate room.
Prior to Dean's office, I had a French provincial kind of bedroom. If you can see the curtains, they're yellow and blue and white with little birds in it, but everything in there was kind of a French style, with the blues and the yellows and a huge bed and couch and things like that. And then when we decided to sell, we cleared the room and said, okay, let's stage it for, let's put your
office down there. And that way, everything but the bedroom would be on the first floor.
And as you can see on the next picture, we have the bay windows off the side of the house. We have the windows open because it's a really beautiful room. And to accentuate that, we made sure that all the windows and things were on.
And what you don't see here is that we also put in a small door that leads to a closet. And that closet is a shared closet with the coat closet. And the reason for that was being that in South Carolina, I don't know how it works in other states, but in South Carolina, in order to be considered as a bedroom, as a fifth bedroom, you have to have a closet to put clothes in. So rather than build a new closet, we just decided we would use the one we had.
We set up a clothes pole, is that a clothes pole?
Yeah, you can call it that if you like.
The clothes pole. And set up a shoe rack in there, and we had a place for hats. So it worked out very nicely.
So on the next photo that you see of the house we sold, you will see our master bathroom. And two things that we want to point out here. If you have windows that are in odd places or are hard to kind of put coverings on that you would like or would look good, one of the options that we did here that I took advantage of was to take cling film and put it up on the window. We didn't feel like we wanted to put curtains in this room, in a bathroom. We didn't particularly like blinds because it was hard to get any light to when you close the blinds, you don't get any light in the bathroom, right?
And then getting in the tub over there to the blind to open and close it, that was like, no.
Yeah. So we decided the cling film gave us the privacy we wanted, but still allowed light into the bathroom.
And to obstruct the view from the outside.
Yes. That was the big thing for us, was the privacy that it afforded. The other thing was we replaced the sliding shower door with a new door. and we were very happy with that. And I think that that helped again to modernize the home.
Sure did.
So when we talk about, when we talked about what we staged, any rooms that you don't use other than the secondary bedrooms should be staged, right? Rooms that you do use should be as clean and tidy and clutter-free as it can be, and only minimal personalization in those places. You want the person coming in the house to feel like they can put their things in and it becomes their house, right? So, and one thing we would give a good idea on staging is that staging can use things you already have. And you noticed in our dining room, we had 2 small chairs and a very small table. All of that was things that we already had from other rooms. We just brought it in and even the rug was something from another room. We just brought it in and had it and used that to stage. And that, that was part of what we talked about with the bad floors being obscured by flooring some rug that you can put out. And I can't emphasize enough that trim paint is important. Trim and making sure that every place on the paint is touched up. Having the paint, and this is stuff that doesn't cost you really anything. It costs you a little bit of time, but paint is cheap. Paint is relatively cheap. For a $50 gallon of paint, you can go through your entire house and touch it up, and it'll look 100 times better. So, the lessons from these that we like you to get from what we just went through is that preparation equals leverage.
The lesson 2, prepare the home like you're staying while not overspending. In other words, prepare it like you would want it. Have a budget and stick to that budget and do not overspend.
Make that money go as far as it can go and get everything that if you were staying there, what would you want? Would you want, rooms repainted? Would you want new flooring? Would you want new kitchen cabinets? What is it that you would want, and what can you get inside your budget? And that's what you really need to look at. And then lesson 3 was make your home stand out from others in the area. And the one thing that our real estate agent told us when we put it on the market on Friday, and Monday morning we had it sold at a full price offer. And in this market, that is very unusual because we priced it. I want to talk a little bit about pricing because it's interesting. We started out thinking we were going to price it in the 300s, in the low 300s, or we had one real estate agent tell us that it was the low 300s, and we knew it wasn't going to be the low 300s. It was going to be more than that. It was going to be more like 350, 360. And we stood our ground and said, no, we're not going to list this for 310, right? And we figured out later on that real estate agent had seen some old photos on Zillow for the house. So they were not informed as to the changes that we had made.
Because we've done quite a bit of work on the house. It doesn't look anything like it did.
No, it is completely different than when we bought it. Yeah. So the point being is that if you know your house is worth something, then price it that way. But also keep in mind that in these days when, $360,000, $365,000, $400,000, that's a lot of money for a new homeowner. Sometimes it's hard for new homeowners to be able to get that money together. And you want to make sure that you're pricing your house based on what you've done to it and what the other houses in the market are going for. But we priced it at what we thought was a pretty aggressive pricing, and we're quite surprised when it sold in over the weekend. To the first person who came to see it. But the reason, again, to go back to the real estate agent, he said that what they found out was that when they had looked at other houses in the area, the people who were trying to sell their houses at around that same amount of money, $360,000, had not done as much as we had done to prepare the home, to get it sparkling clean and to get it absolutely just right. And I think that's a lesson to take if you're going to be
So go a little extra.
right.
Do a little extra.
And because we knew that we were going to move into a condo, which by the way, we had already put an offer on our condo before we sold our house. So we were kind of in a spot where we had to close on the condo in a not too distant future. And as it turned out, our condo sold, or we were going to close on our condo on one date, and the people who bought our home wanted to close 2 weeks earlier than we had planned on closing on the condo. Even though the condo, we had an agreement on the condo
And we had
a
one of
month
these.
before.
Oh my gosh.
A month before we'd sold the house. So we had to rush and get everything done in a short amount of time to get through that piece. But we wanted to transition now, since we're talking about downsizing and changing our lifestyle. We're going to show you the condo as it was when we saw it. And the reason being is that you may be flabbergasted that we would go from from this house to this condo, but you'll realize that it was a good move. So this photo that you're seeing now is going to be of the front of the condo building that we live in. As you can see, there's some rocking chairs out front because it is an over 55 community.
But it is a beautiful place to sit and rock.
It is. And the people that you meet sitting out there are really nice, very nice people. We've really enjoyed, moving here. So that's the entrance to the condo. And the next photo that you're going to see, we wanted to freak you out on the first real photo of the condo, right? The first impression that when we toured it was my brother put it when he saw it, he said it was like a grandma's couch kind of feel to it, right? And so this is something we're going to be taking care of in the near term, getting it painted and getting the bathroom
And I'm going to
redone.
say this. There are people who like the wallpaper and they like this style, and that's fine.
Good
but
on
we
them.
did not. We did not,
Yeah.
and so we're working on that.
Yeah, we like a more
Neutral palette.
neutral palette, shall we say. This bathroom is going to be redone, and it'll look considerably different. And when we have a new video in the near term, we'll be showing you what that looks like. But even beside the picture that you see on there, what felt right to me, and I'm going to let Beth talk for herself, but what felt right to me when I came to this community was the fact that it was quiet, it was gated, and just riding into it, it was the grounds are so well kept and the people are so friendly that I was like taken aback. I was like, this is a place that I think we can live and we can enjoy ourselves and not spend a ton of money.
I liked it because of the quiet. The other house, we were on a main road and we heard road noise all the time. And our neighbor, he practiced his drums in the evening about 5 o'clock for about an hour. And it was right around news time. And that was a little disconcerting sometimes. I think I finally got used to it.
Yeah, and that was disconcerting. I think the drag racing out front at 2 o'clock in the morning was one of those things that I was like, this
Really?
is not good. Yeah.
This is
In fact, this was so quiet that the first night we moved in, I said, you know what, this is too quiet. I think.
We need to turn on some music or something.
I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to sleep here or not, but now I'm like, yeah, I love it. It's just everybody is just really, really calm and quiet. And
I
it
joked
works for
with
us.
Jane, I said, do you think everybody really lives here?
So what felt uncomfortable or unfamiliar in...
Probably being on the second floor, sandwiched in between a first floor and a third floor. Maybe fear of our noise bothering someone else or someone else's noise bothering us, like when we were in an apartment.
Right.
That was a little uncomfortable. I needed to think about that. And the silence was kind of unfamiliar to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I really keep going back to that because, The worst interruption I think we may have had is somebody blowing the leaves, and that was just normal stuff. I don't care about that, but really it's pretty nice.
Yeah, it was.
How about you?
I think that the only thing that I found uncomfortable was that there are things that have to be fixed up here, and we have to spend some money on some things. But we have redone enough houses that I'm pretty savvy about what I can do and what can be done. So that wasn't really too bad. The next picture that you're going to see is of the galley kitchen that we came into. And again, we know we have work to do. We want to replace we've already replaced the stove and the refrigerator and the microwave, and we're going to be replacing the countertops and probably either redoing the fronts of the cabinets or getting new cabinets for this. So I have no doubt this is going to look a lot better. Also, I want to change out the fluorescent lighting. But one thing you'll notice about this is the sprinkler head in there. And so because this is a 55 plus community, we do have sprinklers throughout the apartment and throughout the building.
Sometimes two in one room.
Yeah, sometimes two in one room. That is true. The next photo you see is of the dining room. And you'll notice the gold-plated fixture in the dining room there as we're looking into the dining room. That has already been replaced. I couldn't stand it very long. We've only been in about 6 weeks, but yeah, it had to go. And this next photo is of the enclosed patio. And I'm going to step away for a minute, and I'm going to let Beth tell you about the carpet in the patio and what was done with it.
The carpet in the patio. Well, I think that the patios used to be open. And it looks like everyone decided to enclose their patios, which is great. It makes it like a 3-season room. Because the enclosure is not airtight, it gets a little cold there in the wintertime. So you have to close that off because there's no heating and air vent in there. But the carpet is awful. It was awful. I think it has been here since they built it in 1985. And the padding underneath crumbled just about when I pulled it up. But I did pull it up. I couldn't stand it too much longer. I hated it so much. So I cut it. I pulled it up. So I pulled it up. I put a cut in it, and I found a place, and I started ripping, and I ripped and rolled and got it out.
And
Dean was having PTSD.
Yeah.
He used to travel a lot for his job, and he went to California one time and came home, and I had ripped up the floor at our house because I didn't like it.
There was one little spot that was coming up, and she just started pulling at it, and pretty soon the whole stinking thing was up, and I had to replace it. So that's why.
Scared to go out of town.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So what does all this mean from the standpoint of what we're going to do to the condo, what we plan on doing it, the time frame we're going to do to it, and what lessons are we trying to impart to you? So one of the things is, don't look at what you're looking at doing. If you want to downsize and you want to go to a condo, look at it in a objective form and try and see past the grandmas, the issues that you might see about it, to what you can make of it, right? And so part of our plan was that I would work until the end of 2026 and spend this year fixing the apartment the way we wanted it to be fixed. We would fix it up by the end of the year, and then we would quit spending money investing time and effort on the condo so that we could then spend our retirement actually going and doing things that we wanted to do. And so the lessons on what we are learning from this and what you should take away from this is intentional upgrades beat constant upgrades. And that's when in our house, we always had something going. There was always something going that we had to do. I would buy stuff for it And maybe I wouldn't get to it that weekend. I'd have to wait till the next weekend, and I'd forget about that, and I'd go on to something else. It was a constant churning of to-do list, right? So better that you should look at things in a time frame, time-bound manner and say, okay, what do we need to do and when do we need to do it? So lesson 2
is the time-bound upgrades. So our intentional upgrades are going to be done within this amount of time. So we've set the goal and we've set the date. And when we're done, we're done.
We're done. Right. And the real value that we are going to be getting from this downsize, this 1,100 square foot condo versus the house, is time to do things because we won't be spending the time working on the house. So it's less maintenance. It's also
mental clarity. So the less stuff you have, the fewer decisions you have to make. The less stuff you have, less stuff you have to clean. So it has it's very hard to do as far as the decluttering, but your mental clarity will become very important to you.
Yes. And the community, of course, is awesome. We just went to a new HOA homeowners meeting last night in which they had finger food and all kinds of things in the background. So we had some wine with them, and it was really good. It was a good activity for us.
It was really great. We met some new neighbors, and it was very nice.
And of course, there's the security and the peace of mind that you get from being in a gated community and being around people that are your own age.
And then our ability to say yes to travel, yes to experiences, yes to things that we've been putting off that can't be put off anymore.
And we feel that the financial aspects of it, and we'll go over more of the financial aspects in the next video. Let me ask you this. We'd like to know, do you feel like this is something that resonates with you, that you would like to be able to have less and do more with your life? Is that something that's something that you feel like is, please, if so, please comment below, because we really would like to hear from you. We were looking into some things about Social Security, and because obviously that plays a big part in what we're doing. And sometimes when you think you're doing everything right about Social Security, it doesn't always feel right. And what I mean by that is, if all you're looking at are the numbers, right? A lot of times people will tell you, well, you should work until you're 70 or 75. We've had people tell us that you should probably work another 15 years and flip some more houses to become financially stable. But the fact is that, at our ages, that would be till just about the end of our lives. So we're not doing that. The intent is to make do with less and then be able to live more. And that's the whole point. So don't optimize just for the numbers that you get from Social Security, because it may not, if you start looking at it more as how much life can you live if you can get by with less, that makes a huge difference. And if one of the key areas is,
well, how housing decisions affect your flexibility, your stress level, your life satisfaction. And it can mean the difference between the quality of your life at the end, towards the end,
right? And if you feel like you've had enough, you could get enough from Social Security and from your retirement, whatever retirement you might have,
whatever investments
you've made, and you could live off that. If the house didn't cost you so much, if you didn't have so many bills, then that in your feeling like we felt, if we could just reduce and become sufficient on what we get, then we would be a lot better off. So really, our perspective is that reducing your fixed expenses gives us options, even before Social Security enters the picture, right? Because now we've reduced our debt, and we're able to afford to pay in cash to fix up this condo, which will be a blessing going forward. So what downsizing didn't mean to us was...
It didn't mean that we had to stop enjoying our life. It didn't mean going on the cheap. It didn't mean we had to stop traveling. It did redirect the money toward the experiences we'd like to have and build the margin into our retirement. Less spending does not equal less living.
True. And this part of it is one that I want Beth to talk about, because she had a hard time with the emotional side of letting go of a lot of her stuff. I think there were a lot of items, and as you can see behind us, I actually built her a place to put some of those items so she can look at them and have them around her, some of the more sentimental items. But if you can talk a little bit about these.
Right. Full reveal, I still have some things that I need to go through that I really, really would like to disperse with, to give away or to get rid of. But I've decided that a lot of the things that I had, nobody really wanted. My children, they don't want my stuff. Some of the stuff they want, and I asked them what they wanted, and I gave it to them. And I quizzed my family, my cousins, and I said, do you want this? And if they did, they got it. But I'm trying to learn how to take a picture, not just mental pictures for memory, but take a picture, because you can look at your picture and remember and smile and enjoy that memory and then flip on to the next picture. But if you keep everything and hold on to everything that's sentimental, it leads to a cluttered up life. And I'm ready to let that go. Later in life, I think that we become more sentimental, and it's much harder to let go when we get older, because we do want to hold on to those things. But I have to ask myself, is it still worth it to hold on? And where am I going to put them, and who's going to clean them, and who's going to look at them? And the answer is, it's only me. I'm the one that's going to have to do that. And so I had to go through a process to learn how to let go of things. And we can get into that decluttering and emotions. Will be
A future
episodes to talk about just specifically that.
And sometimes men don't have as many things that they hold on to, but they do. There are some things that men tend to hold on to. I'm a technical guy, and so I hold on to a lot of cords that I don't never throw away. And if you are a technical geek, you'll know what I mean. There's this. Every one of them has a bag full of cords that you never use, but you might use.
This is where cords come to die.
Yeah, as well as remotes. Yes. So, and that's, again, I have an emotional side to me as well.
I know you do.
Yes. I don't want to get rid of my remotes. I'm sorry. They mean something to me. Anyway, we're gonna close by asking you again. How much of your home do you use? Tell us. We're glad to hear about it. And if you were to downsize, what would you miss? And what do you think you would gain from it? Mm-hmm. Leave a comment below. We'd love to hear from you. One of the things that we would like to do going forward, at least I would like to do, is to have guest speakers in our videos from some of the older people that we have in this neighborhood, and talk about their life stories. Mm-hmm. Because I think very interesting people. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So if you've enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe to follow along with us on this journey to be less is the new retirement. So be sure to watch our next video, which is Downsizing Didn't Shrink Our Lives, Expanded It. Thanks again.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.